Bill Doggett is a respected and experienced exhibitions curator. He's an independent archivist and a lecturer right here in the San Francisco area. He's a specialist in African American concert singer history and was retained in 2009 to be the guest curator for the San Francisco Opera's Porgy and Bess production. In addition, he was the founding member of the board of directors of the Los Angeles Opera's African Americans for LA Opera, serving in audience development capacity and community outreach. And in 2012, he was the recipient of the Heritage Keepers Award for exhibitions curation and archive work by the Bay Area Friends of Negro Spirituals. Bill was inspired in his life work by the legendary African-American archivist and curator Arthur Schomburg. His goal is to lecture and create an educational outreach resource embellished by a rare collection of ephemera and recordings, some of which you're going to be able to hear tonight. His archives include rare books, musical scores, photographs, etc., including black concert singers of the 30s and 50s, Negro spirituals, minstrel songs of the early 1900s, and an impressive collection of recordings by Roland Hayes, Marian Anderson, Dorothy, MAYNOR, and Paul ROBESON. So with that, I introduce Bill Doggett. Thank you.
Good evening. So the African-American concert singer in San Francisco, 1900 to 1963, in Paradiso. What does that refer to? That refers to Fauré's Requiem. It's the last movement in the Fauré Requiem. It's a movement in which the choir of young boys or men, or mixed choir, depending on which recording or performance you hear, really is in heaven, if you will. It's Latin for in paradise. San Francisco had that quality for African-American singers and performers throughout its history, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that untold story. So let us begin. As we begin, I should also add to what Curtis said about the significance of this year. This year, being 2013, is also the 150th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation, which Lincoln wrote to free the slaves. It did not become law until January 1863. However, full freedom didn't come until 1865 with the 13th Amendment, but it's still being honored and celebrated all across the country. As well as this year being, as I said, a double anniversary with the 50th anniversary of the Civil Rights Movement, March on Washington. And the combination of those two as well, and I cannot ignore that because that also impacts this evening, and that is, this is the year in which the second term of the first African-American president, Barack Obama, is beginning. And of course, he's in the State of the Union tonight. So let's begin. The issue is slavery. The issue is around the Emancipation Proclamation and looking at what does that mean. I will be giving a shorter version of a much longer lecture that I gave this time last year at the National Conference at UC Irvine of the African American Artistine Alliance. There's so much to everything I'm going to talk about. There's like so many different drop-down menus. But slavery, freedom, being African American, being a person of color, is defined in two ways. It's defined, I create, if you will, two dialectics. The dialectic of the black identity before the Civil War, antebellum identity, the identity of a happy, gone with the wind imaged, if you will, African-American, not called African-American, of course, but a black person that is happy and singing and, you know, and nostalgic, the idea of the old Jim, almost the Uncle Remus type of person. And then there is the identity that we see here, past here, that is, I call the post-Civil War identity of Black identity, which is the identity that comes with Reconstruction of Freedmen's Bureau that establishes land-grant colleges for slaves, free blacks now, in the South, in the form of money to educate. Going forward, we arrive at our principal first destination. This is a picture of SISSIERETTA Jones, the Black Patty, the young SISSIERETTA Jones. Her dates are 1868 to 1933. She spans this very important period from post-Civil War through basically, what would I say? She dies during the first administration of Roosevelt. So it's a huge time period. She is considered the great grandmother, if you will, of all African American concert singers. She is also called the Black Patty because she has, as you see here, here's the Patty, the Italian Patty. She has a voice range, the voice type that is, Patty's considered coloratura, but SISSIERETTA Jones, or the Black Patty, has that, but much more. But her story is incredible. Here is a woman who has the ambition of Adelina Patty, but has the skin color of a person of color. This is a new book, this authoritative biography on SISSIERETTA Jones by Maureen Lee. Maureen Lee has gone to incredible extent to document so much. I want to just talk to you about this lady. Look at this image. This is the image of any metropolitan opera singer of her time. This is Tetrazzini. This is Semprich. All of the leading opera singers of 1900, the golden age. The ones that came here to San Francisco in the tours, spring tours of 1905, 1906. This could have been them. She is amazing in as much as that by 1892, she has sung in Carnegie Hall, the first African-American concert singer to sing at Carnegie Hall. She has, in 1895, in January 1895, she has been invited by Antonin Dvorak, who was in this country, working at the National Academy of Music in New York, to help anchor this hitherto unheard of, this really ahead of its time event where Dvorak puts together an all-black cast, classical cast of singers, choirs, and instrumentals, and orchestra to perform at Madison Square Garden. This woman is featured. What does she sing? She sings the Inflammatus with choir, with a black choir, never been seen before, from Rossini's Stabat Mater. She sings, and she's prone to sing these nostalgic songs like Swanee River and Home Sweet Home, which Adelina Patty sang as well. She goes in February of 1895 to Berlin, singing as Adelina Patty would, or Madame Seligman, or even beyond that, a Tetrazzini. She's singing the same repertoire. She comes back, she then travels to London, and then she comes back to Berlin and is throughout Germany in the late 1890s. But as regal as she is, and as gifted as she is, and as much of a renown as she has, she also has to deal with this dialectic I'm talking about, this pre-Civil War, this post-Civil War. So what happens? She comes back, she's picked up by Rudolf Vogel, who's an associate of Carnegie Hall, or one of the managers of Carnegie Hall. He has come to recognize that, yes, she's gifted, and yes, she can go to Berlin, and she can be the toast of Berlin in 1895, but she doesn't have the financial, staying power to do just classical material. So, what is popular? What is the moneymaker? What is everybody? What everybody else is doing? Especially what African Americans are doing, even though they're classically trained. They're doing minstrelsy. That is the economic behemoth of the entertainment industry at the turn of the century. So, what happens? Black Patty, the famous Black Patty, and musical comedy company with SISSIERETTA Jones, the original Black Patty, and 40 others. Who are in her 40 others? Some of the leading names in black vaudeville, early black vaudeville. We're talking about accomplished performers, theater performers, putting on cork, making fun of themselves, making this mockery, but that's what people were coming to see. Now what does Patty do? Patty comes, and this is from the Alhambra in San Francisco, from probably 1905. SISSIERETTA Jones comes to San Francisco. She's the first formal, outside of Madame Salva, who's here in the 1870s, she's the first notable singer to come. I mean, she's a gifted concert singer, but yet she's caught up in this dynamic. So she's singing. What she resolves is that, yes, in order for me to survive, I have to create this company called the Black Patty Troubadours to be successful, but I'm going to keep within that paradigm of this company. I'm going to have a period in which I showcase myself in my gowns, in my furs, in my jewelry, and I'm going to sing Sempre Libra from La Traviata. I'm going to sing Caramella from Rigoletto, as Marcella Semprich would do at the Met, or as Edelina Patty would do at the Met. I'm going to sing the popular songs that were popular by many other people at the same time, such as I said, Swanee River, Old Folks at Home, Old Sweet Home. So she did that. But the challenge she had was that people really weren't there to see her. They were there to see this mockery. This was very much in vogue. And this was in vogue even in her shows. Her shows were all about this, I would say, basically minstrelsy, to be polite. I mean, you would be floored to see the advertising I have in original newspapers. A trip to Coontown. Actually, we can back up. Let me go back a slide. Okay, so in this ad piece, amusements from San Francisco Call, I think this was to say February 18, I can't read it, 1898. It's an advertisement. Now, in my research, especially what Maureen Lee has written about, she dates SISSIERETTA Jones being here in San Francisco in 1905. She's also here in 1909. She has a whole week tour. She has a West Coast tour. Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oregon. So she's at the Alhambra in 1909, April 1909, for 1 week. But look what the kinds of things she's doing. She's doing coon comedy, coon songs, jubilee shouts, cakewalks, black dancers, vaudeville. This is what sells. And it's unfortunate, it's tragic, but fortunately, there's a flip side. There are those who would come to see her and see this other side, this opera side, because the opera side was there. And there were those that she did likely meet who would invite her to those musicales in Nob Hill. Roland Hayes, a phenomenal success, 5 capacity houses in Boston, 3 in New York, 15 concerts in London this summer. Largest recital audience of the season greets Negro tenor at the Academy. That's incredible advertising that the San Francisco presenters are doing before he even sings here. So he sings here, and he sings, this is actually a later program, but he sings here, but what does he sing? It's a lot about, again, packaging and how you present yourself. He's not just singing the songs that SISSIERETTA would have sung, which is, songs that fit her, of course, the Sempre Libra, the Caro Nomo, that fits her. But it's not about the pop stuff so much. We've moved on, and we're singing Galuppi, we're singing Caldera, we're singing Handel. This is Baroque music. This is the programming that he brought to Europe. We're singing